TV.
Welcome to another episode of Out of the Fog. I'm your host, Lori-Lydia Loveless. Tonight we have a very Christmassy episode for you. First, we have Major Pam Goodyear with the Salvation Army, and then we have President and Publisher Rebecca Rose with Breakwater Books. And we'll be right back after this short break. And welcome back. Today I'm with Major Pam Goodyear with the Salvation Army. Welcome, Major Pam.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. And today we have a lot of fun things to talk about for this holiday season.
We sure do.
So with the Salvation Army, what is its mission and how is that mission with the kettles this year?
Well, the Salvation Army's mission is to be a transforming influence in the communities. We serve over 400 communities in Canada, and our motto is giving hope today. And there are people who are struggling every day, and tomorrow's not looking any better, and we want to give them hope that tomorrow will be better than today.
Wow. And how long have you been in this role specifically?
Well, I've just come into this role at the beginning of July. I've done public relations before for the Salvation Army, but just newly moved to Newfoundland, although I was born here and lived here as a little child.
Amazing. And with the Christmas kettles, I know myself, it's always been a family tradition that we do every single year. So how important is it for the kettles for this time of year?
Well, our kettles are our largest local fundraising campaign, and the funds that we raise in the kettles stays in the local community where it's raised. And it's vital to our programs. It's vital to providing Christmas assistance, whether it's food hampers or toys at this time of year, but it also supports our year-round programs with folks that are coming to the Salvation Army looking for help.
And can you tell us a little bit about what those programs are within the Salvation Army?
They vary in every community, but if you look right here in St. John's, we've got a food bank that operates downtown out of the Chespenny Center of Hope. We're seeing 900 families every month come to that center looking for help with food. In recent months, we're seeing an increase in folks accessing the services that have never had to use a food bank before, and that's something we're actually seeing across the country. So it's showing us that the need is increasing. People are really struggling, and they're facing impossible choices these days. A mom is deciding whether she pays her rent or gives her kids Christmas. Does she eat herself or give food to her kids? And so it's such a struggle for so many people. We also have a community meal program 3 days a week at the Chespenny Center. And there's multiple other programs where the kettle dollars will go to fund those programs year round.
Wow. And how do you measure success, whether it comes from, donations or even community involvement?
Well, the Salvation Army always wants to be good stewards of donors' money, and so we do the best that we can with the funds that we raise. Yes, if we meet our goals, we certainly consider that a success. Here in St. John's, we're looking to raise $400,000 this year. Wow. Across the island of Newfoundland and Labrador, our goal is $1.2 million.
Wow, and you use all of the donations locally here in our community.
Yes, all the funds raised in the kettles stay local in the community.
And can you tell us a little bit about how those funds are allocated?
Sure, depending on the need and the programs in each community. So, again, here in St. John's, it's used to support our food bank, our community meal program, other forms of assistance that we can give to families and individual adults.
Wow, and you do so much for the community. So how can families reach out to you if they are in need at this time of year?
Sure, just reach out to their local Salvation Army and we'll do our best to support them.
That's great. And so another thing I wanted to mention, like I said, we volunteer our family all the time. So it's always a tradition that we enjoy, that we take great pride in. So how can other families and people get involved?
Go onto our website, salvationarmy.ca/volunteer. You can find out how to volunteer in your local community or right here in St. John's. Many ways, especially standing on the kettles and ringing the bells. It's an iconic part of Christmas for so many people. And don't be afraid to bring the kids out and get them involved. What a great way to teach our children to give back to the community.
Absolutely, and we're seeing a lot, families volunteering together. And do you see families that you've even helped throughout the years as well?
Absolutely, folks that have come to us for help. A few years later, they're in a better place and they want to volunteer as well. I've seen families come out and get involved in the kettle. I remember one little girl a few years ago in Alberta, where I was living. She would get out and she'd sing and dance on the kettle. She'd hand out pictures or candy canes. She just really engaged with those donors who were coming by.
Oh, that's amazing. And are you seeing the community outreach? Are you getting more responses, or are you seeing more familiar faces that you've seen over the years, new faces?
Sure, you certainly see people come back every year. And we've got every age, right? From the little kid who's begging mom and dad, can we go ring the bells at the kettle, to the seniors up in their 80s and their 90s, who that's part of the tradition for them.
Wow. And do you have any success stories that you know or have heard of throughout the years that Salvation Army have helped?
Absolutely. There are so many people who've come back and said thank you to the Salvation Army. What you did for me, whether it was food hampers or a shelter bed or other supports, and it's helped them to turn their lives around. Just recently at our Hope in the City breakfast here in St. John's, our guest speaker was Joe Roberts. He's known as the Skid Row CEO. And Joe even told the story of how a young teenager living on the streets in downtown Vancouver, he came in contact with the Salvation Army and found hope and turned his life around. And so there are so many stories like that, and it's always powerful. In fact, you've come out and stand on the kettle, you may even hear one of those stories of somebody who'll go by and say thank you to you, even as a volunteer, because their life was changed.
Wow, and that's why we do it. We go out on the kettles every year as a family, and like you said, people tell their stories. They seem so appreciative. I don't know if it's this time of year or, the Salvation Army involvement, but it just seems everyone's just in the Christmas spirit.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's coming close.
It is, and so the campaign is on now until when?
It'll be out, kettles will be out until Christmas Eve around many locations around the city and across the province.
And we do, with the Salvation Army now, it's digital, so there's a tap aspect.
We've got the tap. It's interesting, we launched the tip tap back when COVID was on.
Oh.
And so when we couldn't have volunteers standing at kettles, we'd put a tip tap out on the kettle stand instead. It wasn't too successful that year,
yeah.
but we're more familiar now with Tip Tap, right? You go into many retail locations or other donor places, and Tip Tap is there. So people are becoming much more familiar with it, because of course so many of us don't carry cash anymore.
Exactly.
But what a great way, just take the card and tap.
And that's made ease of access as well. So have you seen a change in donations from this?
Absolutely. Tip Tap in St. John's alone last year brought in almost $70,000.
Wow.
And there's different donor levels within it, whether it's $5 or $10 or $20. So makes it very easy for people to donate.
Excellent. And so do you go on the Kittles with your family?
I'm single. I don't have a family, but I do get out and about and certainly try to get around and thank our volunteers who are out on the kettles.
Absolutely. So I have to say, you seem like you are so passionate about this. So tell us what it means to you personally to be a part of the Salvation Army and the Kittles.
Well, I've been part of the Salvation Army my entire life. Mm-hmm. My parents were Salvation Army officers here in Newfoundland back in the 60s and 70s. So it's been part of my life. But I truly do believe in what we do. That's why I'm passionate about it and love to tell the story about what we do, because I am seeing lives changed. And that's what the Salvation Army is about, is giving people hope that life can be a little better tomorrow.
Amazing. And like I said, so my Uncle Rainey and Aunt Wanda were Salvation Army officers, so quite the same way. I grew up in the Salvation Army Church, and it's just so heartwarming to see hope being brought. So yes. Thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to ask you one last question before we go. What's your favorite Christmas carol?
Oh, I think it's Joy to the World.
Ooh, good one.
It's a nice upbeat, and it really brings the message of Christmas.
It really does. Well, thank you, Major Pam.
Thank you, Lori-Lydia.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back after this short break. And welcome back. Today I have a very special friend with me. I have the president and publisher, Rebecca Rose, with Breakwater Books. Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here.
And you're all festive and I love it.
I put on my Christmas colors for you. Yes, 'tis the season.
'Tis the season.
Yeah.
And Rebecca, tell us a little bit about yourself and about Breakwater Books.
Well, Breakwater is the longest standing book publishing house in the province. We just last year celebrated our 50th anniversary. Which is a great benchmark for any business, I think, and any business in the arts and cultural sector, indeed. And I think that's a really telling sign of the powerful and talented stories and storytellers that we have in this province, whether it's theatre or music, and for us, literature. It's a pretty nice benchmark to celebrate in this province.
So Rebecca, what are some of the big challenges or even opportunities that you're seeing with the local authors in our province?
I think the biggest challenge is the supply chain itself. That's what publishers are up against, and so are all the writers that we represent. The market has always been dominated by multinational publishers, and in the past few years, and certainly since COVID, we've seen a lot of drastic impacts on the supply chain. So the cost of making books has increased significantly, and the market share has been particularly challenged. So independent publishers like us and all of the other authors that are working with local publishing houses in this province have to work a lot harder to draw attention to our books and to capture the attention of people that are interested in their books, because We know that people are interested in local authors and in local stories, and the problem comes back to discoverability in the marketplace. So that's why shows like this are really important. We're really grateful because the book publicity coverage in this country has really decreased. So any opportunity to help showcase what books and what authors have new works available locally is really crucial in discoverability, and therefore hand in hand the success of any local publisher, author, and the publishers that they're working with. So, you know, the opportunities for authors, I think, is that we do care about our own stories. This company, Breakwater Books, was founded on us telling our own stories and not having to rely on international publishing houses or writers to tell us about ourselves and our culture. And we've been successful for 50 years, 51 years now, in doing that. So, as have so many other presses and storytellers that have come along the way. You know, so I think the opportunity remains for writers to discover their audiences, but we do have to do a lot of work. Authors have to put themselves out there. They got to be comfortable participating in the publicity process with us these days, maybe more than they might care to. But given the amount of competition that they're up against in the sector and the challenges that we face in the supply chain, it's important for us to really get books out in front of people and let them know that they exist, and hopefully engage with them and like them and buy them.
That's great. And so how can local authors, you know, get in touch with you, or how is the selection process for you with Breakwater Books?
It's really difficult. It's really competitive. There are a lot of people interested in writing, which is fantastic, but the number of slots that we have in any given year is few. And that makes it really difficult for emerging writers to keep up the motivation to keep trying. You'll hear any writer that's actively trying to get published get and deal with a number of rejections. So it's a hard and enduring process for many writers. At our press, we have a submissions process. You submit to us and ultimately sit back and wait. And 8 to 12 months later, you might hear from us. If and when we engage, then you're brought on board. But it's an endurance game, honestly, for any writer trying to get published in this country, and it's not particularly easy. That said, a lot of things writers can do to help improve their odds are work with local organizations like Writers NL, for example. They have a mentorship program. You can get selected and work with an established writer who's really going to help you improve the quality of your writing, and that's going to help you stand out in that pile of 1,000 submissions I have to look at. And they have a lot of other programs like that to really help improve your work and help you stand out when you do start submitting to publishers. So any writer looking to get published in this province, in this country, I would recommend they deal with their local writers organization, learn from their peers, learn from people who are doing this successfully to really help improve that experience of the trying to get published process.
That's great. And so what, in your opinion, you know, what do local authors bring to the table that, say, national or international authors wouldn't?
Well, for us in Newfoundland, wanting to showcase our stories, it's authenticity, it's lived experience, it's our reality. Like, you know, you really engage with something when you see yourself in it. So when you think about our reading public in this province and our need to increase our reading public in this province, people are going to be more likely to do that when they recognize themselves, their lived experience, and whether that's an outport experience or an experience here in downtown St. John's. Like, we need to see ourselves in some version of our lives, I think, to truly relate to something and maybe grow and learn from it too. So I think that's an important process for people to understand, and an important mandate for our company in trying to show that the stories of our people of this province are just as engaging and important and interesting to read and entertaining as any from writers around the world. And that's what we've been successful in trying to do, is bring Newfoundland writers that are working at home to the world stage. And we've been successful in doing that. I mean, if you look at some of the books we've brought here today, Maggie Burton published her debut poetry last year and won a national award that's never been awarded to a Canadian writer for it. And that's just such a great recognition for her as a poet and for us as a publisher, because, you know, she's talking about outport culture of her grandmother, right? There's just so many wonderful mandates addressed in that poetry, and have that recognized. And that's an award that came from an international award. So Maggie's there on stage getting this recognition with some of the best poets in the world. That was just like, that's the quality and caliber of the books we're trying to publish from here. If you look at The You Who Knew Who Knit You is the most recent winner of the Newfoundland and Labrador Book Awards for children's literature. And Bridget Canning's No One Knows About Us is a short story collection. She's just won the Best Fiction Award and that's recognizing books published over the past 2 years. So we're really at Breakwater focused on finding really high quality writing and producing it with really high production standards, and ideally, in examples like that, achieving great outcomes like that from world recognition. Seal of Salvage by Clay Smith is a great debut novel. It's a bit of a queer love story in the 50s in Outport, Newfoundland, but also dealing with the mythology of Selkies and like incorporating our folklore into contemporary fiction. And we're delighted to have most recently just optioned the film rights to that book. So it's going to ideally, you know, in the next couple of years, become a feature film done in Newfoundland. So we're publishing really great stories that are also extending themselves well to other adaptations and to other markets. Hides by Rod Moody Corbett is another great debut novel dealing with like masculine relationships and friendships. And that that was selected by the Globe and Mail as one of the best books of the summer. We just got noticed yesterday. It's a 49th shelf top pick. So really high quality books that are getting national and international recognition. So we're very proud of that. And that's a testament to the writers that we're working with, to the talent that we're representing from this province.
And like you said, you have so many like awards and great authors and things like that. So, you know, you have an annual Christmas event coming up.
We do,
so
yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, the annual Book Blitz has really developed its own following. People have come to look out for it. I think we've been doing it for about 10 years now, and usually one day a year we do everything at half off. And that's really to give people a chance to stock up on books and like get those last minute presents. And usually it's a bit later in December, but for a multitude of reasons, we're doing it a little earlier this year. And we're going to extend it for 2 days. We had a lot of supply chain challenges this fall with some books, so we're really trying to gain ground. And frankly, everybody's having a hard time with the bottom line this year, and we recognize that. So we're trying to extend the sale so that we've moved the days to make it a bit more accessible, to have it all day Friday and Saturday, December 6th and 7th. And it's online, and that's really important for me to let viewers know so that you can be on the other side of the island. You don't have to be in town and come into our store at One Stamps Lane. You can get the same savings on our website. The only thing to be mindful, of course, right now is the Canada Post situation, but we do have a courier option on the website for anybody ordering online. And with that 50% off discount, I think it offers enough savings to justify the courier if you want to get your books before Christmas. If not, you can use the Canada Post one, but you know, they might be sitting around for a bit. But otherwise, come in store. And I mean, that's everything in our backlist. That's over 400 active titles.
And where's your store located?
Our store is on One Stamps Lane.
Right.
Yes, yeah, kind of tucked away in a corner, but we're there. We've been there for a while.
Yes, I've actually visited your store multiple times, and it is absolutely beautiful. And you know, with regards to Christmas, myself, I'm a big, you know, book lover. I love, you know, different genres and things like that. So for the book lover, what would be some recommendations for their Christmas list?
Okay, I'll go a few ways here, I think. I mean, we've got a great nonfiction memoir from Ashley Matthews. It's her cancer memoir, and we really were drawn to this one. There's a lot of books out there on cancer. What we really liked about Ashley's is that it was while she was a young person, and that's not often the case in this kind of memoir, and it's a very frank and forthcoming experience of that. And as a very outspoken and forthcoming person, I really appreciated that, and we're getting a lot of feedback, as is Ashley, that women are welcoming that perspective, like the cold hard truth, but a lot of good humor thrown in there too to make it a palatable experience to learn from.
I've read the book and I thought the humor element of it and just beautifully written. So excellent recommendation.
That's exactly what I said. It was like she made a cancer memoir a page turner, and I think that's like a pretty high achievement. For those horror fans, we've got a great new one called False Bodies. Really interesting stuff. It's dealing with Kraken, you know, ideally, and some men go missing on an oil rig off the coast of Belle Island. Really high quality writing, but very creepy content. It's like Alien meets like Ocean Raider. It's a great creepy story for any horror fans.
I am a horror fan, so I have to put that on my
It's a new area for us, but we've gotten great feedback. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Another one that's so cool is Total Party Kill by Craig Francis Power. This too is brand new in. It's poetry, but it's also self-help. What he's done is he's addressed his recovery from addiction through the iconography of Dungeons and Dragons. It's very creative. It's very brilliant. So anybody that was a bit of a gamer for D&D is going to love this content. Anybody interested in an addiction, and you know, having grown up and been involved in organizations dealing with addiction, I was really taken with what he's achieved here. It's pretty innovative stuff. I think a lot of people would appreciate that, and that's cool. Like a book like this is also getting us into new stores that typically wouldn't carry our books, but like Time Masters, Mount Pearl were delighted, or a new account taking on, you know, a book like that, which is great. And right now, we're just today's the official release date of Andy Jones's latest book, Actor Needs Restraint.
Yes. Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so this is from his collection of, as he says, monographs, clown works, and all kinds from his classic plays, the Uncle Val stories and such. So this is 3 of them. He did a lot of editorial and contextualizing work in the over the course of development. So it's really well set up to, when you think about drama teachers who might be interested, who can't do a full play, he's really set it up in such a way to be consumed in more palatable packages, and has broken down the content in easy searchable ways. So we really wanted to make this as accessible as possible, certainly in the educational sector too. But it's Andy Jones, it's brilliant. Even the table of contents is hilarious, right? Like my meetings with him were just busting a gut. Like, so it's really good. A lot of people are looking forward to this. We're launching that at the Rooms on December 20th, actually. So any viewers that want to go, that's open to the public. It is a ticketed event, but coupled with Sean Panting and some songs, it's going to be a pretty awesome night.
So how can people get in touch with you to find out more about these books or purchase the books?
BreakwaterBooks.com, of course, is the website, and we're across all the mainstream social media. And to come visit us at One Stamps Lane anytime, but certainly on December 6th and 7th when we're having that book blitz with everything 50% off.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Rebecca, so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about books.
Yes, I've enjoyed it.
Stock up on your Christmas presents.
Exactly.
This is the time.
And we'll be right back after this break.
Your opinion matters, and we want to hear from you. Get in touch with us using our viewer feedback line, your direct connection to shaping the shows you love. It's easy. Just grab your phone, scan the QR code on your screen, and take our quick survey. Share your thoughts, and let's make your viewing experience even better.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Out of the Fog. I want to thank our guests this evening, Major Pam Goodyear and Rebecca Rose. So if you're a book lover and you're looking for something to do on December 5th and 6th, be sure to check out Breakwater Books for your Christmas list, your book lover. And of course, if you're looking to donate this season, you can donate to the Salvation Army Kettles, and you can even use your phone. Until next time, much love.
You're watching an interesting local show on Rogers TV and you want to know more. That's when you head to rogerstv.com. Our website provides more information about our programs, our hosts, our schedule, and about how you too can get involved with Rogers TV. Visit us online at rogerstv.com.
We want to hear from you. Provide feedback on this show or find out how you can get involved. Call, email us, or scan the QR code to take our quick survey.
For me, it all started here.
I do my best work here.
Scores! Oh my goodness!
This guy's dangerous from here, here, and here.
We're watching history in the making here.
Are you? What's this?
And our fans are up here.
I'm here for it. It's all about what's up here and what's in here.
Sportsnet, here for hockey.
We invite you to play What's My Line?
Welcome, Mrs. Baker. Those folks over there need to guess your extraordinary occupation.
Are you an entertainer, Mrs. Baker?
Yes.
Do people come to watch you
perform?
Yes. Do you travel for work? Yes, I do.
Do you ever wear a special type of costume?
Yes.
Is your job, physical?
Yes, indeed.
Are you a member of a team?
Yes.
Are you a professional baseball player?
Yes, I am.
Created during the Second World War, the All-American Girls Professional Baseball League included 68 Canadians. One of its brightest stars was my mother, Saskatchewan's Mary Bonnie Baker, a pioneer for women in sports.
This is a brain in urgent